there are just some times in my life when I have to take a step back and ask, why am I acting this way? What is going on inside of me that is causing me to respond this way? Pretty sure I've been asking myself this question for like the last 17 years because I notice when I am acting in a way that I don't really want to act. Paul says in the Bible that I do the things that I don't want to do and I don't do the things that I want to do. Hold on, wait a minute. Let's just rewind for just a second. A lot of the New Testament is written by Paul. He had an amazing encounter with Jesus. He was transformed from who he was to becoming who he was in Christ and really operating in the purpose that God had for his life. But Paul was not Jesus. Paul had to deal with a lot of the old man trying to come up into the new creation. And that's what we all battle with. So I think the reason that Paul struggled is because he still had certain internal beliefs that were in operation that he had not challenged and began to believe something new yet about himself in order to respond a certain way. Because the key to living a transformed life and becoming someone new and actually living in our identity in Christ that carry themselves totally different than the world, and it's noticeable, is challenging like what's going on inside of us. Self-awareness is not a bad thing. It's not being self-absorbed. It just means we're simply being aware of what's going on the inside. I'm being challenged with this at a whole deeper level right now in my own life with the belief that I am a failure. I didn't even realize I had this belief system in operation in my life until I failed at some stuff that I really thought that I could do and it just didn't work out. Or I tried something that I heard the Lord say to do and it didn't work out in the way that I thought that it should. I had an expectation and my expectation was not met. I was talking to my husband about it one day and I said, I just feel like I'm failing at everything. And when I heard those words come out of my mouth, I knew immediately these are not the words I need to be speaking over my life. They came out, and nonetheless, I just kind of was wallowing in it. My 7-year-old son came up to me and he said, Mom, you're not failing. I think you're doing a great job. And it legit almost made me cry because I thought, wait a minute. He believes that I am doing a great job, even though I haven't found time after this big move and everything to go get my hair done so that my grays aren't coming through. Constantly dressed like I'm gonna go work out, but I'm actually not working out. Or I haven't really done all this other list of stuff that I could keep going on forever about. He doesn't see any of those things. All he sees is, I think you're doing a great job, Mom. So why it made me want to cry is I realized in that moment, he believes that about me, but I don't believe that about me. And so I've spent some time with the Lord really talking to him about that. And I taught a class even in my Freed to Lead collective this week, something I've been actively walking through doing. It's probably about the age of 27. I'm now 43. One day, a woman who was in leadership and authority over me said, I really didn't want to come into the office today because you're so negative. And I was 27 years old. I could have gotten angry at her for saying such a harsh thing, but it was the truth. And I knew it, but I've never really took the time to ask why. Why am I so negative? It's causing me to respond this way to life. It's our belief system because our thoughts feed our belief system and we operate out of our belief system. Everything we do or don't do comes out of what we think about ourselves or what we believe about the world around us. So the next time you respond to something in a way that you're like, why do I always do that? Just stop for a second and ask, okay, Jesus, what am I believing that is causing me to respond to it this way? And what do I need to believe for me to start to change this part of who I am and how I respond?